You can rot in here, Mom. You come out when you learn how to obey. My own son's words hit me harder than the shove that sent me stumbling into the old cabin. Outside Lake Arrowhead. My phone slipped from my hand and cracked against the wooden floor. Then Daniel brought his heel down on it until the screen went black. He stepped back outside, locked the door from the other side, and started his SUV. Through the window, I heard his wife, Melissa, laugh like this was some private joke. My name is Grace Whitaker. I am 66 years old. I spent 40 years sewing school uniforms, hemming prom dresses, and taking every overnight alteration job I could find so that Daniel could become an engineer. Now that same son had locked me in a cabin with no food, no water, and no obvious way to call for help. Daniel, Melissa, and Melissa's mother, Evelyn, were leaving for a Caribbean cruise. Evelyn had never tried to hide what she thought of me. To her, I was the poor, aging mother-in-law who did not fit into the clean, expensive life she wanted for her daughter, but Daniel had not always been cruel. For years, he was my whole world. His father walked out when Daniel was 8 and never came back. From that day on, I worked days as a seamstress and nights doing embroidery until my fingers cramped. I still remember one rainy morning when Daniel came home crying because the other boys had mocked his torn shoes. That night, I counted the money I had saved for a dress I wanted and bought him new sneakers instead. His smile was enough to make him forget how tired I was. I sold jewelry. I pawned me best sewing machine. I even borrowed against my little house so he could finish college. When he graduated, I cried as if diploma had my name on it. Then Melissa arrived. She was polished, perfumed, and perfect in public. She smiled with her mouth while looking at me like I was a stain on the carpet. I tried to love her anyway. I cooked for her. I embroidered napkins with her initials. I even gave her money for a medical procedure she claimed she needed. She called me Mrs. Whitaker in a voice so sweet it scraped my skin. The first time I understood her poison was after the wedding. I was washing dishes when I heard her talking with Evelyn in the backyard. Daniel is too soft with his mother, Melissa said. We need boundaries before that old woman starts thinking she is part of this marriage. Men need wives to open their eyes, Evelyn answered, otherwise poor mothers climb all over them. After that, Daniel began to change. He stopped coming in Sundays. He stopped hugging me the same way. When I called him with a fever, shaking and asking him to take me to urgent care, his voice was cold. Melissa says a woman your age should learn to take care of herself. That sentence was the first lock. The second came when he borrowed $80,000 for Melissa's car and never paid a cent back. The third came when Melissa called me dramatis in my own kitchen and Daniel said nothing. But the real lock came that afternoon at the cabin. It started when I tore up my old will in front of them. The will that left my house and savings to Daniel alone. Melissa screamed like I had reached into her purse and stolen cash. That house is worth millions, she shouted. That is our future. Our future. That was what she called the home I had bought with 40 years of needles buried in my fingers. Daniel grabbed my phone when I said I was calling the police. You are going to sign another will, he said. You are going to put everything back the way it was. No, I said. His face changed. In that moment, he was not my son. He was a stranger wearing my blood. That night, they forced me into the SUV. Melissa said it wastingly so I could reflect. Evelyn sat in the front seat wearing dark sunglasses and said stubborn old women learn faster away from neighbors. They left me at the family cabin, a place hardly anyone visited. Before he drove off, Daniel leaned close to me. When we come back from the cruise, he said, if you are calm, we can talk. The door closed. Darkness fell. I cried for 10 minutes. No more than that. Then I crawled to the bed, lifted the mattress with shaking hands, and touched the little emergency phone I had hidden there 3 months earlier. When I began to understand that my own son could become dangerous. The screen lit up. 18% battery. The first number I called was my friend Ruth. Ruth reached the cabin at sunrise with her nephew, a locksmith, and 2 county deputies. When the door opened, I was sitting on the floor, wrapped in an old blanket, holding that phone like a rosary. Grace, my God, Ruth whispered as she ran to me. Do not cry for me, I said. Save your tears for when they find out I am still alive. The deputies photographed the shattered phone, the damaged lock, and the bruises on my arms. I told the whole story calmly. That calm cemento disturbed them more than tears would have. Do you want to file a report? One deputy asked. Yes, I said. But first I need my attorney. Mr. Caldwell arrived that afternoon from Riverside. He had helped me with my property papers years earlier. I handed him a folder full of recordings, screenshots, receipts, and notes. For months I had documented insults, unpaid loans, threats disguised as advice, Melissa searching my drawers, Daniel saying a senior home would be more practical, and Evelyn suggesting they take control off me house before the old woman became useless. Mrs. Whitaker, Caldwell said, this is no longer just ingratitude. This is abuse, coercion, and attempted financial exploitation. Then we do it the right way, I said. That same afternoon, I signed a new will. My house and savings would go to a non-profit that helped abandoned elderly women and single mothers. Daniel was removed completely. I also signed medical and financial directives stating that no one could declare me incompetent without an independent court review. But I wanted more than protection. I wanted them to see themselves clearly. Ruth contacted Marcus, a local reporter who investigated elder abuse. Mr. Caldwell prepared a recorded meeting. The deputies agreed to stay nearby for safety. I returned to my house, changed the locks, and waited. 3 days later, Daniel, Melissa, and Evelyn came back from their cruise tanned, relaxed, and carrying new luggage. They looked like people who believed a locked-up mother had learned obedience. Daniel pounded on my front door. Mom, open up. We need to talk like adults. I opened the door with a soft smile. I have been waiting for you. They walked in. Melissa looked around my living room as if she were already deciding which furniture to throw away. We hope you have reflected, Evelyn said. At a certain age, stubbornness can look like dementia. I reflected a great deal, I said. Daniel pulled out a folder. I have a notary coming tomorrow. You sign the correct will, and we forget this little tantrum. The correct will? I asked. Theon that leaves me the house. I am your only son. I breathed in slowly. Before I sign anything, I want to show you something in the basement. Something from your childhood. Daniel. Greed beat suspicion. They followed him downstairs. When I turned on the light, the basement walls were covered with photographs, documents, transcripts, and printed screenshots. On a table, a laptop streamed Levito, Mr. Caldwell, Marcus, Ruth, and 2 witnesses. Melissa went pale. What is this? She asked. My file, I said. Daniel read one page and froze. It was a transcript of his own voice. If she does not sign, we leave her in the cabin until she understands. Mom, he whispered. Do not call me Mom while you are reading evidence that you kidnapped me. Evelyn tried to rip papers from the wall. This is illegal, she snapped. Mr. Caldwell's voice came through the laptop. No, ma'am. It is not. And everything is backed up. Then I played the final recording. Melissa's laugh filled the basement. Once the old woman signs, we sell the house and stick her in a nursing home. She can pray there all she wants. Daniel lost the color in his face. Outside, a patrol car pulled up in front of my house. Now, I said, we can talk like adults. The first blow was not the patrol car. It was the look on Daniel's face when he realized the old woman he thought he had broken had learned to document every bite. Melissa stared at the laptop like it was a snake. Evelyn crossed herself, not from guilt, but from fear. Turn that off, Daniel ordered. No. I am your son. And I am the woman you locked in a cabin. The deputies came downstairs with Ruth behind them. Mr. Caldwell remained on the screen. Mrs. Whitaker, he said, please confirm in front of everyone. Do you wish to move forward with charges for unlawful confinement, threats, destruction of property, and financial coercion? I looked at Daniel. For 1 second. I saw the boy who ran toward me wearing new sneakers. Then I saw the man who smashed my phone, left me without water, and went on vacation. Yes, I said. Proceed. Melissa screamed. You are ruining us. No, I said. I only stopped protecting you from your own actions. Evelyn stepped forward. This should be handled inside the family. Family does not lock a 66-year-old woman away to steal her house. Marcus spoke from the laptop. With your permission, Mrs. Whitaker, the report goes out tomorrow. We will protect your personal details, but the pattern will be public. Elder abuse, inheritance pressure, and families trapping older relatives for money. Daniel collapsed into an old chair. My job, he muttered. That healed something in me and broke something else at the same time. He did not say my mother. He did not say what I did. He said my job. I paid for the career you were worried about. I reminded him. I paid for it with double shifts, dresses I never bought, and medicine I postponed. After everything, the only thing you care about is your reputation. Melissa finally dropped the mask. What did you expect? She snapped. That we would sit around waiting for you to die. That house is too valuable for one lonely old lady. The silence was so brutal even Daniel stared at her. Melissa, he said. Do not look at me like that, she shouted. You wanted it too. You said your mother had already lived long enough. Evelyn grabbed her arm. Shut up. But it was too late. The laptop was recording. The deputies had heard it. Daniel's face sank as if he finally understood that the woman he betrayed me for was dragging him into the same pit. I never meant for it to go this far. He murmured. Yes, you did, I said. You just never meant for it to be recorded. Back upstairs, Mr. Caldwell handed me the real document. I placed it on the table in front of them. This is my new will. My house, savings, and antique embroidery pieces will go to the nonprofit. You and Melissa will receive nothing. You cannot do that, Daniel said, his voice breaking. I already did. Melissa lunged toward the paper, but Ruth stepped between us. Do not even try it, she said, for the first time in years. Someone defended me before I had Tosk. The deputies took statements. Daniel was not handcuffed that night, but he was formally ordered to appear. Melissa and Evelyn left my house covering their faces. Marcus was already speaking with neighbors who had seen the patrol car. The story spread fast. A successful engineer accused of locking his mother in a cabin to force a will change. Daniel's company suspended him. The clinic where Melissa worked dismissed her after the ethics scandal. Evelyn stopped going to church because the ladies looked at her like a snake in pearls. I did not celebrate. A mother does not dance over her son's collapse. But I did not kneel down to pick him up either. 3 months later, Daniel appeared at my door alone. He looked thinner. No expensive watch. No Melissa. He told me she had left him once she understood there would be no house and no money. Mom, forgive me, he whispered. I lost everything. I looked at him through the half-open door. Now you know what it feels like to lose something because of someone who said they loved you. He cried the way he cried as a child. My hands wanted to touch his face. My heart wanted to open the door and tell him a bowl of hot soup could fix everything. But I remembered the cabin, the darkness. The key turning. His voice telling me I would come out only when I obeyed. I can change, he said. I hope you do. But I will not spend the rest of my life waiting for that version of you. I am your only son. And I was your only mother. I closed the door slowly. Not with hatred. With grief. With dignity. That year, I sold the house. Not because they won, but because I no longer wanted walls that remembered threats. I bought a small home in a quiet town with a sunny sewing room and a little patio. Full of flowers. With Ruth and a few neighbors, I started workshops for older women. We taught embroidery, basic legal defense, personal finance, and how to set boundaries with family. We called it Free Hands. Sometimes mothers come to us screaming because their children only call when they need money. I pour coffee, listen, and tell them the truth I learned too late. A mother's love can be enormous, but it must never become a prison. I still miss the boy Daniel used Tobe. Not the man who locked me away. The boy. And I have learned that you can love a memory without letting the present destroy you. Every morning, when I open my window and see the light touching the mountains, I breathe without fear. I am 66. My hands are tired, and my eyes do not sew as finely as they once did. But my heart finally learned a new stitch, how to close where it used to bleed. I lost an illusion, yes. But I recovered the home inside myself. The one no one can lock from the outside.